Good evening, everyone. This is Minister Nita Kelly. I'm here this week for our For Real podcast, where we will be starting a new series on tonight. And I'm pretty excited about this new series that we will be starting on tonight. I'm just going to give you a few minutes, give people a few minutes to come on. And in the meantime, I will talk to you about AK Ministries and what AK Ministries is all about. I'm happy to see you again this Monday night. As we come and we talk about issues, the truth of the matter, and trying to put us in a better space so that we can be healed from all that we are going through life doing this thing, right? So, AK Ministries, just to get on what we are doing here, we are cultivating gems to let the you shine through. That means we do the internal work. We have to do the work on the inside, that the things that we've gone through, challenges and things that life is unexpected, things that life has taken us through. And sometimes we have a problem just getting through it or navigating through these things. So these sessions are designed to encourage you, and that's part of this ministry. It's an inspiration to others, to be an inspiration to encourage others to live purposefully, to allow life's experience to strengthen your soul and cultivate you into the gem that God intended you to be, shining bright through all circumstances. We can make it. We can make it, right? So, the mission is to foster internal healing from life's most challenging experiences, to strengthen the soul and encourage wholeness through acceptance and forgiveness. And this is, again, the internal work, not so much that we're looking for other people to ask us for forgiveness or things like that, but it's doing the work on the inside. Sometimes we have to forgive ourselves. Sometimes we have to accept some things that have happened that may be a victim, or we may be the one who caused the problem. So, whatever it is, we have to be able to accept it and to forgive. And AK Ministries is here to empower individuals to recognize the origin of their disappointments and pain. If we can't get to the root of it, your healing is going to continually be delayed. So here we try to be that person to tell you to look in the mirror and be truthful about that image, that person that you see on the other side. And what is it that you need to do to get to a better place? Are you willing to do the work? So you have to recognize, excuse me, that is the origin of where this stuff is coming from. Accept ownership. You might have had some part in it. So we have to accept ownership, even how we feel about things and how we feel about people. We have to accept that for whatever reasons that may have drove us to that conclusion, but we still have to sometimes accept ownership of why we feel the way that we do. So accept ownership of personal triggers and to accept the complete healing from Jesus Christ. If he People would say if he brought you to it, he'll bring you through it. But then sometimes we left with the residue and don't know how to actually process that. But he comes to heal us, and sometimes it means to reopen a wound, right, so that healing can take place um, correctly. Sometimes we just try to brush it, in the back of our memory and things like that. But that's not dealing with it. It's just brushing it back. And you know what? It comes back. It comes back up from time to time. Different things that you go through in life, you'll find some of these issues coming back up. And God is just showing us, you know what? You got some unresolved anger. You got some unresolved forgiveness, some unresolved issues. We want to deal with that so that you can accept the healing, the complete healing from Jesus Christ. So digging deep within your soul. Nobody else's word. Sometimes we want to talk to someone else that we know that might be going through a similar challenge, but I'm here to tell you that these words are for you. Because one thing about it, there's a gem that is inside of you that God wants to shine through. He wants you to get through it so that you can help someone else heal, so that you can talk about the things that gave you a setback or discouraged you, to be able to talk about these things. You can help someone else get healed. It says we're overcome by the words of our testimony. And so we help others get through because they realize, you know what, I'm not the only one that went through this situation, and they went through a similar situation. So if God delivered them and healed them, and He's no respecter of persons, then I know that He can do it for me. So, get healed so someone else can have hope from things that they are going through that are similar to what you may have gone through. So here we're going to talk about being tired. We're going to talk about being tired. Um, and this is for those who strong, those who are faithful, those who are responsible. Responsible people have more of a load to carry because a lot of people depend on those who are responsible. You can even be grateful for where you are and things like that, but it does not mean that sometimes you don't get tired. And this is what this is about tonight. Still going through, doing what you do, being faithful, being responsible, being grateful. But sometimes, you know what, we have to admit that we're tired, and so that's what this is about. So tonight I'm giving you permission to tell yourself the truth about where you are. Are you tired emotionally? Are you tired mentally? Are you tired spiritually? Sometimes, there's a weight that we carry sometimes just on a spiritual level. People don't want to talk about that sometimes because they think it interferes with their gifting. But, sometimes, we can get tired spiritually, uh, physically, you can be exhausted, you know. Sometimes you're so tired that you can't even rest. And I'm here to tell you tonight that let's just be truthful about where we are. Situations come up, work require more of you. Somebody got sick in the family that's requiring more of you, or what have you. But now it seems that, things are kind of kicked up. A lot of people are going through more things right now than they never thought that they would, right? So how are we carrying that? How are we carrying that? Are we taking time for ourselves? Are we admitting to the fact that yes, I'm doing all these things, but you know what? I'm tired. Sometimes we say I'm emotionally drained. We have all these words that we use. I'm emotionally drained. I'm so tired physically. And so make the connection that you are just tired. And so how do we work through that? If we're going to be honest about these things, it does not mean that you being ungrateful. It does not even mean that you weak. You know, it just means, you know what it means? That you're tired. What are you tired of? You might be tired of carrying the weight of everything on your shoulders from your family, from your job, what have you. You might be tired of being that person that always showing up. You're always showing up and you still see those that are coming, they late or they don't show up, or people show up and don't do what they're supposed to do. But you seem to be the one that's always showing up in place to do whatever's necessary. And so, you know what? We find ourselves sometimes pretending when we are doing all this stuff and we don't be truthful about what we're feeling on the inside. So pretending can wear you out too. People ask you how you doing. I'm okay, and you know that you're not okay. You know, and it's okay to say, I know I'm really tired. I could really take a day off. Or take a Sunday off sometime if you're doing a lot in the church. I mean, you have to think about where this area of your life that is making you feel so tired. You've been pushing, 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 and it's okay sometimes to step back. Tired of being the strong one for everyone else, and nobody's there for you, and just showing up and you smiling and you got some things going on the inside where you dealing with some hurt, some disappointments and things like that, but you still showing up and you smiling, you know. And so it's okay, even though you're strong, it's okay to still say that you're tired. We got to look out for these strong folks because they don't have anyone or think they have anyone to lean on. And those are the ones that's getting in health crisis and things like that because they're trying to push, and still trying to navigate and not asking for help, and they really need help. So look out for these people that say they so strong. I want you to pay special attention and see. Sometimes you have to bombard a strong person. You have to just step in and do, because they're not going to tell you that they need help. You just got to step in sometime, and you have to just help them when you know that they have to be exhausted emotionally, or sometimes physically. Sometimes a few of them, emotionally and, and physical. So I'm here to tell you tonight that because you're tired, it does not mean at all that you're weak. That they don't even go together. Sometimes you're tired. Your physical body can only take so much. Emotionally, you can only take so much. All of it can be draining from time to time if you don't take a break from it. Then sometimes we say we burn out. Why burn out? Because we are taking the time away from some things that we need to, right, to be restored. We have to be restored as well. So, but tired doesn't mean that you're weak again, and it does not mean that uh I'm sorry. Tired does not mean that you're weak. Tired sometimes mean that you are carrying something. And sometimes you're carrying something and it's a heavy load, and others may not know about it. It may be from various different things, but nevertheless you're carrying the load. And so you love God, but you're tired. You had events all week long, even say Saturday, and this is Sunday morning, and you don't have much in you to go. And so then we say sometimes we pressing. And I think I told this story once before. I had my girls were young and grade school, and we used to always try to make sure they were at midweek church. We were in midweek church, and that the youth were getting what they needed, right? Because those youth activities at church are really good for your kids and give you a little time. But one of the mothers that used to be, she was a greeter that would be at the door. And so one night, she stopped me, and I think we had services on Wednesday nights. And she stopped me. She said, honey, it's okay sometimes if you just want to drop them off because you're tired. And maybe she saw my face. Maybe she see me was pressing every week to get these kids in here, and I'm working full time. And, maybe this particular day I really looked like I needed to take a break. But this was a mother this was a lady that had, she had a lot of children. I don't know how many, I can't, 5 or 6 in her time. But she had already gone through where I was. And so when she told me that, even to this day, I never forgot it. And so I didn't do it that night, but I did learn how to do it. And I didn't make a habit of doing it when I had to admit to myself that I was really tired. And if I could get these children here to you, then maybe I can have this hour to myself. And so I learned that helped me be restored. And so I wasn't putting tiredness on top of tiredness, because then I try to sit in Bible study, and by the time I get the kids, I'm still tired. And so sometimes we can sound off on our own kids, just because we are physically tired. But I took that as wisdom, and I took that as advice from someone who had already traveled the road that I'm on. And so I learned how to do that, to drop them off. Sometimes, like I said, I could have made it a habit because, ooh, this felt good, but not to make it a habit because I didn't want the enemy to win, right? But if I was physically tired and I knew I needed some time to get my emotional self back together, my physical self back together, then I learned how to take that. And I thank her today for that advice, because those tidbits of wisdom can help you get through, right? A situation that you're going through. That was the time and season in my life, trying to raise my children and work and all this stuff. And so my heart goes out, because it is not an easy task, especially when you are physically tired. You love God, but you're tired. You love your family, but you can still get tired. And so you can be called to greatness. And I'm going to tell you that you still get tired. You can be grateful for everything and everybody in your life and everything that God is doing. But you know what? You can still get tired. And so we need to be able to admit these things go on. So being tired doesn't mean that you lack faith by any means. It just means that you need to be restored in whatever area that is. You need some restoration. And so you have to know that. And so you have to be wise enough to pull back areas where you need to pull back for your own self. You can't help nobody else if you work operating on burnout. So the weight of always showing up, that's heavy. The weight of always showing up. People always expect for you to show up when no one else does. Because you the helper. You the one who listens. You the one who fix things. You the one who encourage others. And no one else will get it done unless you do it. And so you the one that's gonna do it no matter what, no matter how you feel, no matter what's going on. But sometimes that person that's showing up all the time in every area, being there, guess what? Y'all need to check on them because they do get tired. And they're pushing and they're pushing. They're saying, I'm pressing. Okay, you can press, but sometimes you just need to rest. And that is the truth. And the strongest people get tired because they don't know how to put the weight down. They don't know how to stop. They got to just keep going. And they walking all bent over. I'm just saying, from the heaviness of it all, may not be physically bent over, right? But emotionally, spiritually, you've been over, you're tired, you carry too much weight. And then also when we continue to pretend that everything, hey, how you? Oh, everything okay? Because you don't think nobody want to listen. But there are some people that God sends to listen, to say, some things that I plan, to just be open and to be honest. First with yourself, that everything ain't all right. You smiling, you serving, you working, you're still saying, I'm good, you know. Inside though, that you carrying some pain, you carrying some weight, some pressure, some grief, some disappointment, you carrying stuff, but you're gonna continue to pretend I'm okay. I'm good. How about you? And you get in the car and you crying. You know what I mean? You got to be truthful with that person in the mirror. I'm always saying that person in the mirror. You got to be honest with number one. If you ain't honest with yourself, girl, you look tired. You need some rest physically. Okay? I'm tired. It's okay to be the one to say I'm not showing up this time because I'm tired, guys. I'm gonna take this break right now, okay? And I'm gonna be there tonight. I'll carry on, okay? It's all right. I ain't gonna punish you for that. I want you to know it's okay. So some of you tired from waiting and waiting and waiting on something to change. You're just waiting, you know, and you waiting on promises, you waiting on answers, you waiting on your healing, you just waiting. You know what they say about wait made the wagon break now, but you waiting. And it can be heavy, your heart can be so full, your heart can even be hurting, but you're still hopeful, right? But your strength is wearing thin. Your strength is wearing thin. All that waiting can wear you down. You got to figure out another solution. Sometimes you wait for a period of time, and then there's a period of time you got to know how to put that thing on the back burner so that you can continue to move forward. Once it starts weighing you down, you got to make some exceptions. So waiting will test parts of you that winning never. How long can you persevere? How long can you hold on? How long you gonna wait for something to change? Maybe that thing is waiting for you to change. We don't know. So give things boundaries and time frames. Don't spend a lifetime waiting on someone to change. Excuse me, or a situation to change. Sometimes you have to make some decisions, and you have to make some changes in order to see a change. If that makes sense, right? Just continue to wait for someone that say they coming. How long you gonna waiting. Someone say they're gonna pick you up to take you somewhere. 2 hours and you're still waiting. You're still looking out the window. You're checking your phone. How long you gonna wait before you give up and say they're not coming? You know. So apply that to certain situations in your life. How long you gonna keep waiting for certain things, and they're weighing you down. You be agitated. All these things, and you wonder where it's coming from because you holding on to something. You holding on to something that you need to let go of. Tired of waiting. Stop waiting. Stop waiting on empty promises. Stop waiting. Okay. So now I want to ask you this. I'm going to ask you this. I have to have these moments, right? I want to know physically tired. I want to know, is it emotional tiredness? Is it spiritually tired? Are you mentally tired? Are you just tired of being the strong one? Are you tired of starting over? Are you tired of carrying something that nobody else see and nobody else know about? You know, be honest with yourself. Not everybody else. You got to be honest with yourself. Where is it coming from? You're tired of what? You have to know what you're tired of. And so then you have to know how to move past that or how to get past that, right? So God is not asking you to be the strongest person out there, right? God wants us to rest. Jesus rested. So that tells you have to rest. Sometimes he kept trying to get away from the multitudes. He had to get away to pray. He had to get away to rest because people will continue to pull on you. They see your strength. They're going to continue to pull on you, but you got to steal away and you have to get the rest that you need so that you will be able to continue to help. But you got to take care of number one. You got to know when you need more strength. You got to know when you need some peace. So what does it look like then if you allow the healing in all these places where you're so exhausted, and this place where you tend to be working so hard, doing things? What does it look like to be healed from some of these things? So I'm going to give you 6 things. The first one is admit that you are tired. If you know a new mother got babies and got other kids, may not have a big support system, she tired. If you got some time, a couple hours, go visit. She's not going to tell you she needs you. You go over there and visit and make her sit down and you help her. It's things like that. When I say for the strong, you have to kind of bombard in when you know that they've been running, that they've been doing a lot of things, they've been going through a lot of emotions. So put yourself in their way and demand that they let you help them. I don't care how much they fuss. Say, I don't care, sit down. I'm going to fix you a glass of water. And I just want you to sit in this chair and drink it. I want you to sit down for a minute. Bombard them and let them know that, you know what, I see you. You think I don't see you, telling me everything is fine, and I'm seeing how exhausted you are. Let's take action. Let's take action and help somebody, right? Number 2 is stop calling burnout being strong. You know you're tired. You don't have to continue to be strong. There's a time where you have to put that strongness down and stop calling it burnout. Ask for help where you can. It does not mean that you're weak, but you learn how to ask for help when you can. The more you do it, the easier it will become, right? Rest without guilt. You feel bad because you want to lie down and take a nap. A power nap is only 20 minutes. It do a body good, does a mind good. You need to take a nap. Take a nap. Sometimes I try to work and I'm sitting on my favorite chair at home, and then guess what? I find myself waking up. That means somewhere where my mind thought I was working, my body said, but you're going to get some rest. So I say sometimes I find myself waking up when I think I'm working. I ain't working, my body's shut down and I'm asleep. And then I find myself waking up. And I can do that without feeling guilty. If there's some things that I needed to finish, God is still going to make sure that I can get things done. But if I'm tired and exhausted, I'm not going to do it right anyway, right? Sometimes you got to give your mind a break so that you can be effective and productive. You can only push so far. Release what was never yours to carry. Sometimes we just carry, oh man, your neighbor's going through so much stuff and you coming home carrying all that. That was not meant for you to carry. If you can't hear their problems without taking it to yours and keeping you up at night, you ever stayed up at night worrying about somebody? Situations been told to you or they shared some things and you done spent the night, can't sleep because of somebody else's stuff. And guess what? They sleeping. They going out doing just what they want to do. And you the one tired. You the one lost sleep by somebody else that you can't change. And number 6 is let God restore you before you try to pour again. Take that time to be restored. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. We talked about that. You can't pour from an empty vessel, but if you rest in whatever area that you are fatigued in, if you rest where you're tired, be restored, be rejuvenated, guess what? Does a body good, does a mind good, and guess what? Now you can continue to go forward. And then you start feeling yourself getting tired again, guess what? Then you slow yourself down. You do what's necessary. Once you find what works, you got to keep doing that. So to rest does not mean that you're quitting. I'm going to tell you, wise people are the ones who take time out to rest. So I'm going to close the night with this. And I want to talk to that person that's tired. I want you to know, from me to you, you're not weak. You're not less spiritual. You're not even failing. Guess what? You just human. Flesh. You just human. Bodies have to rest. Minds have to rest. Issues have to rest. Sometimes you can find a solution to a problem if you let it go for a minute. Not dwell on it. Walk away from it. Do something else. Let your mind get cleared. Once your mind get cleared, then guess what? Then you're probably able to think again. Out to lunch. Take yourself out to dinner. Take a little vacation. Take a couple of days and don't pick up work. Do what is necessary for you. You survived a lot, you've shown up a lot, you've gone through a lot, you carry a lot, But guess what? Now it's time to be honest about these things that cost you time, cost you energy, cost your peace. Some things have even cost your peace, But healing will begin when you stop pretending that everything's okay. And you give yourself permission to heal from these things that we go through, And so tonight, this is for real, for real. I didn't want to keep you long. Where we talk about real issues, real pain. We talk about what it takes to really be healed. And so tonight, I want you to be able to freely say that I'm tired. You know what? But I'm ready to be restored. Allow the peace of God to come into your heart. Let go pretending, let go guilt, Let go all these things about you have to be strong. Nobody is there to help you. We tell ourselves these things, but if we allow ourselves to see just how much God loves us and the grace that he gives us and the people he sent to help us, if we not push them away. Or there are times you just need to turn the phone off, turn off the television, and just lie down and just let your body be restored. Let your mind be restored. Yes, you're strong, but yes, you're tired. No, you're not always okay. So you've been pretending. You know what I mean? And so we all do this because we all want to show up. We all want to show ourselves as strong and not weak, you know. But to be honest and upfront with oneself, to say, I'm blessed, I'm anointed, but the girl is tired. So I give you permission tonight to be honest with yourself and take the necessary steps that you need to be restored, to be healed, to be rejuvenated. Yeah, you all that. My sister, my brother, but you tired. And you know what? It's okay. Don't feel like you got to show up all the time. You know how other people don't show up sometimes? Sometimes that can be you. It's okay. I give you permission. And you know what? They're going to be okay. Somebody's going to step in and do it. God always have a ram in the bush. So don't think it won't get done just because you're not there. You just not there to see it. And you not the one physically doing it, right? Step back. There's someone else. There's someone else. And guess what? Sometimes they might decide that they don't need it if they don't have someone else. But I tell you, wherever it is that you were going, whatever it is you were going to do, is still going to go forward, whether you there or not. So when you think of it that way, they can carry it on unless you the guest speaker or the one that's on program, right? So give yourself the grace that you deserve, right? You deserve it. God bless you, Minister Nita Kelly. Give me a call if you need me. I'm always trying to be available and accessible to you. But God wants you to be healed completely. And it's okay. You got permission this week. You're not being lazy. You're not being ungrateful. You're not being weak. And it's okay to say that I'm tired. I'm strong. I want to be there, but I need to take a break. And it's okay, right? God bless you. I love you. Minister Nita Kelly. For real, for real. See you again next week. Have a good evening.